लाडली लाल की श्रीमत सद्गुरु सरकार की। गुरु राधना दिश्च गुरुः परमदैवतम्। गुरुः परतरं नास्ति कृपालु गुरवे नमः। ध्यानमूलं गुरोर्मूर्तिः पूजामूलं गुरुर्पदम्। मन्त्रमूलं गुरोर्वाक्यम्। भक्तिमूलं गुरोर्कृपा। कस्तूरी तिलकं ललाट पटले वक्षःस्थले कौस्तुभम्। नासाग्रे वरमौक्तिकं करतले वेणुः करे कङ्कणम्। सर्वाङ्गे हरिचन्दनं सुललितं कण्ठे च मुक्तावली। गोपस्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपाल चूडामणिः। यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रणोति तस्मै तग्वंह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशम्। मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। So we'll chant the divine names of Sri Radha Krishna for a few minutes. Govinda Govinda Gopal Radhe Krishna. 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe
राधे गोविन्द गोविन्द 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 गोपाल राधे कृष्ण 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 गोविन्द गोविन्द गोपाल राधे कृष्ण गोविन्द गोविन्द गोपाल Radhe Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopal Radhe Krishna Gopal Radhe Krishna Gopal Radhe Krishna Gopal Radhe Krishna Govinda Govinda 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 Gopal Radhe Krishna Govinda Gopal Radhe Krishna बोलिए लाडली लाल की जय श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय
Respected devotees, when we embark on our spiritual journey, we unearth many questions. Our habitual behavior tests our resoluteness, while our conditioned, doubt-ridden mind urges us to go back to something more familiar. To succeed against such formidable obstacles, you must have courage. Your mind will go on fluctuating, so be it. With firming determination and with correct practice, with correct understanding and practice, and by the grace of God and Guru, your firming determination will move you through all the doubts with a loving, calm composition. Once a disciple asked his guru, "Why can't my mind engage in meditation? Though I try day and night, this wretched mind, it wanders from one place to another. I grab hold of it, pull it back, and no sooner have I done so that it goes off again." The Guru, he smiled compassionately at his disciple. but he uttered no words in response. The disciple was puzzled. He considered his question a pivotal one. How could he make progress without an answer? So a few days later, the Guru asked the disciple to join him on his morning walk through the forest. It wasn't long before the Guru paused under a tree and, pointing to some excreta, he said to the disciple, "Do you see those worms over that filth?" The disciple replied, "Yes, Guruji. I want you to pick one of those worms and gently place it on that fragrant flower." The disciple did as he was asked. And within seconds, that worm, it slithered off the flower through the moist grass of the forest floor back onto the feces. "Do you understand?" inquired the Guru. "Understand? You asked why your mind cannot meditate on God, and this little fellow has given you the answer." With palms joined and feeling a little red-faced, the disciple humbly requested his Guru to explain. So the Guru replied, and he said, just as this worm is conditioned to loving excrement, believing there is nothing better, bound by Maya, your mind is accustomed to loving the hollow and illusionary pleasures of this Mayic world. You cannot sustain meditation on your beloved because your mind is still attached to the world, believing there is pleasure in it. A worm that lives and breathes in a drain, if it were placed inside a bottle of perfume, it will die. A drunkard lying in the gutter, if he is asked why he doesn't go home, he will reply, "This is my home." Similarly, due to our constant and consistent practice over infinite lives, we are habituated in believing, in having faith, in conviction that this world is a source of happiness, that it is a source of happiness. I want to bring your attention to this word, happiness. Let us examine what is happiness. What is the actual form of happiness? Our scriptures tell us, Yo vai bhuma tat sukham, Chandogya Upanishad, that happiness is everlasting, it is infinite, it is unlimited. This is what the scriptures tell us. What is our experience? How do we define happiness in this world? Every new year, every anniversary, every birthday, we express our joy for the person concerned or the occasion celebrated. We say Happy New Year, Happy Anniversary, Happy Birthday. But have we ever stopped to consider what happiness is? We feel overjoyed in praising the person or occasion to all and sundry, but have we ever wondered, or has anyone ever wondered, where that happiness goes after a day, after a week, a month, or a year? It depletes with the passage of time. Standing at the altar in front of friends and family, newlyweds, they pledge their undivided loyalty to one another. But what is the reality? Within a blink of an eye, tension begins to develop. It later leads to friction and eventually divorce or even death in some cases. So where does that love go? A mother yearns for her only child to return home from school, and she experiences great joy and satisfaction when he runs and jumps into her arms. With closed eyes, she hugs her tender child with such great delight. But what happens when that mother puts the child down? Wanting to stay in the mother's lap, the child begins to create a scene. He tugs at her dress, stomps his feet, and rolls on the ground, screaming and crying, just like little ones do. So the same little boy, the child, who only moments away was a source of happiness and joy for the mother, is now a source of displeasure for that same mother. Rasgulla is a favorite sweet for many of us, and we eat the first one. It tastes absolutely great, delicious. We also eat the second one, and it tastes wonderful, but less than the first one. And if we continue to eat, if we eat the 10th one, we know what will happen. Moreover, an object may be a source of happiness for one person, but for another person, that same object may be a source of displeasure. Just like non-vegetarians, they love to eat such food, whereas a vegetarian is repelled by the mere smell of non-vegetarian food. Similarly, a teetotaler, is repulsed by the mere sight of alcohol, which is relished by an alcoholic. So the point here is that if we honestly reflect in solitude on our own experience in this world time and again, we will find that the pleasure that we received is now gone, and we have started our search over again. It's like a mouse trapped in a running wheel. We have gone round and round over infinite lives in search of that elusive happiness which we have not found. In fact, we have never found to this day. Jagat Guru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj, my Gurudev, he tells us that we have been running in the wrong direction All of us, since eternity, we've been running in the wrong direction. What we seek is, in fact, true everlasting happiness. Happiness, as I explained, according to the scriptures, that is ever increasing, everlasting, infinite, unlimited, and that cannot ever be overcome by sorrow or misery. We have ignorantly conducted our search in the place where it does not exist. It does not exist. So, what we seek, the happiness that we seek, is eternal. And that is a very form of God. God and happiness are synonymous. God is the embodiment of perfect divine happiness. So this brings us to a very important aspect of devotion. Until and unless we forcibly convince our intellect with spiritual knowledge and strengthen our mind by correct spiritual practice, it will continue to believe and think that there is happiness or there is pleasure in what is in comparison to the infinite divine love of God. So, practice is critical. In Hindi, it's known as abhyas. Abhyas. Abhyas, practice, it is indispensable in our journey to God. So theoretical knowledge alone isn't enough. It has to be practically applied. Application. That knowledge has to be lived. Just like Sri Maharaji in the lecture yesterday morning just before the Kirtan, Sri Maharaji explained that we cannot expect to complete a journey only by memorizing the flight schedule. No. We cannot satiate our hunger simply by earning a degree in home science. No, it doesn't work that way. We have to prepare the food in order to satisfy our hunger. Likewise, we have to travel and not simply memorize the schedule. So practice is critical. And all kinds of work, big or small, can be mastered with practice. Do you see acrobats and tightrope walkers perform miraculous feats? And you clap your hands in praise of their performance. But they're just an ordinary person like one of us. It is practice that has made them skilled in that art. It is practice alone. So to proceed in any field, we must engage again and again in practice. That is most important. But Sri Maharaji tells us that when it comes to bhakti, when it comes to devotion, we hesitate. We do not take interest, or we neglect it altogether. Why? Because we expect instant results. And that expectation of ours is exactly, precisely what discourages us from treading the path of bhakti and devotion. Do you really have a choice to escape the trap of birth and death in the 8.4 million species of life? No. We are compelled to suffer. We cannot change the way of God or the world. No. And yet, as individuals endowed with this physical form, this physical body, we have been given a choice, and that is to select one over the other. We can select God, who is supreme bliss personified, or the endless suffering of the world. So Sri Maharaji tells us that we should never feel discouraged, and we should continue our practice. That is most important. Just like a rope made of grass, it leaves its imprint on a hard stone, wearing it out due to continuous friction. Arjun, he says to Sri Krishna in the Gita, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramadhi balavad dridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Arjun says to Sri Krishna, Oh Sri Krishna, my mind is very fickle. This was an empirical conclusion of Arjun, who was the greatest warrior, who was the topmost archer among the Pandavas and the Kauravas. He was the dearest disciple of Dronacharya, and the one who thwarted the advances of Urvashi, the most beautiful maiden from Indra's court. She was instigated by Indra to test Arjun's sadhana. So Arjun very politely said to Urvashi, You know, Indra is my father, and you being another wife of his, I regard you as my mother. So how can I fulfill your immoral and lustful desire? The same Arjun, the conqueror of his senses, is saying to Sri Krishna that my mind is very fickle, it's very unsteady. So what does Sri Krishna tell him? Sri Krishna said, Asanshayam mahabaho manor durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena chigrihyate. Sri Krishna told Arjun that it can be tamed through practice and detachment. Ferocious and fearsome animals like lions and tigers are controlled and domesticated in the circus. Showing his whip, the trainer makes the lion behave according to his command. And the lion forgets his ferocious and prowling nature. This is nothing but an outcome of repeated practice. We are humans endowed with a mind and an intellect. Nothing is impossible for us. Nothing is impossible for us. So our Guru, Jagat Guru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj, those who accept him as their divine spiritual guide, he graciously, in an effort to propel us on this path of devotion, he tells us that as individuals, as aspiring souls, we should do one thing. While we practice our devotion, we must do one thing: So what does he tell us? He tells us that we should make it a habit, a daily habit to, analyze ourselves. Before going to bed, we should reflect on our wrongful acts, activities that we have committed during the day. We should ask ourselves, how many times was I afflicted by worldly desires? How many times did I get angry? How many times was I overpowered by the senses, by the desires, the sense objects? How sincere was my effort to put Rup Dhyan into practice? And how long did I shed tears for the divine darshan of Radha Krishna? Sri Maharaji tells us that these are some of the questions we should ask ourselves in order to determine our areas of improvement the following day. That is what he tells us to do. And when we sit for sadhana, Sri Maharaji gives us advice. He tells us that we should sit with a straight back when we are. I can see some people getting there straight. So, he tells us that we should sit with a straight back. In the event that we're not mindful of this, our slouching is likely to invite sleep. Whenever our body feels even remotely tired, our mind automatically gets motivated to convince us to go and rest. And this tendency of the mind to invite rest is called sleep. It's called sleep. Once it so happened that some devotees, they filed a suit against sleep in God's court. So they complained that whenever they sat for spiritual sadhana, Nidra Devi, the goddess of sleep, she pestered them so much that she became a hindrance in their ability to perform sadhana. So God, he asked Nidra Devi, so why do you trouble my devotees so much and disturb them? So protesting against the charge, Nidra Devi retorted. And she said, my Lord, I never go to your devotees unless I am repeatedly called by them. I never go unless I am repeatedly called by them. So then the Lord asked the devotees, his devotees, then why do you call her, my dear devotees? Why do you call her in the first place? So the devotees protested and they said, no, we do nothing of the sort. We never desire that she should come to us when we're doing our sadhana. So Nidra Devi replied and she said that, my Lord, then please ask them, why do they nod their heads so much during sadhana? As such an act is only an indication for me to come. The point is that what seems to be no time, we start yawning and inviting Nidra Devi to overcome us. But Sri Maharaji tells us that if we resolve to stay awake, firmly resolve to stay alert, we could at least get up and stand for a few minutes, or even move to the side, and so we can stretch our leg, or even step outside, go for a little run or a walk. We could do that. Just as people in their own homes, if a close family member is seriously ill or has had an accident, then people stay up all night worried for their life. If an unknown person throws a stone and breaks one of your glass windows, you definitely will not sleep a wink that night. There's no way. There are so many people that work in factories and they work night shifts and they operate very dangerous machinery. Would they dare to fall asleep? No, because they are alert to the fact that if they did, the consequences could be fatal. So they're fully awake. Sri Maharaji tells us that the more we care and the more we realize the importance of our devotional life, then the more we will succeed. The more we will succeed. So it is very important to introspect and recall the activities of our day. Today my son inflicted great insult upon me, and I remained silent. I did not react. That shows my success in controlling anger and feelings of resentment. And Sri Maharaji tells us how gracious he is, that he is always inspiring us, not looking to our faults, but he tries further. We slip and he tries again. And we slip again and he tries again. So he encourages us. He says that if we fail, then we should make a firm resolve to improve the day after. That is what we should do, and continue our practice in that way. Sri Maharaji often tells us that if we make it a daily habit, if we make it a practice, if we firmly resolve to practice in this way for 10, 20 days, we will see for ourselves the results, the benefit that we will derive, and where we will be in our devotion and self-restraint. So, in this way, Sri Maharaji tells us that we have to maintain our practice and keep treading the path. And in this way, if we embrace these teachings, then we will not be affected by the Mayic defilements, anger, greed, lust, animosity, hatred, jealousy. All of these will not bother us. And we will be able to keep making progress through our practice. So this is what Sri Maharaji advises us. This is his grace upon us. Every breath of Sri Maharaji was ever directed to one goal, and that was to uplift souls like you and I, to elevate us from where we are to give us that experience of that ras and the grace of Sri Radha Krishna. He always desired one thing for us. What can I do for this soul? What can I do for this sadhak to uplift him or her? What can I do? Hence, his tireless effort, his life, a divine charity, a divine gift. What a boon. Each and every one of us here, how blessed we are. How fortunate we are. There's just one more thing I want to say before I end my talk. And that is, in this world, perception is everything. We perceive something, we develop faith in an individual. It may be an object. So, on this path, in this satsang, we as preachers, myself, Nikhilanand Bhaiya, or anyone for that matter, if they share knowledge or inspire us in any way, we must always realize that it is not us, that it was inspired directly by Sri Maharaj. He is the inspirer. Because it is very easy for us to feel, oh, but Diwakari Devi gave that speech and it was so uplifting. Yes, I shared the knowledge, but what you felt in your heart, I don't have the power to give you that. Nor does Nikhilanand Bhaiya, and nor does Chirag. Because all blessings flow from Sri Maharaji alone. And that is something that I urge you all humbly, with folded hands, to remember. While you're here, or when you go back to your home, every experience, every tear, every thrill that you will experience is nothing except the grace. Because Sri Maharaji is the ultimate authority of that divine knowledge. I am a fallen servant of Sri Maharaji, simply sharing what he has endowed upon me, what he has given to me. Once Sri Maharaji said that if it weren't for my grace, not a single preacher would be able to face an audience of people and utter a single word. So, gratitude for our Guru. बोलिए लाडली लाल की, श्रीमत सद्गुरु सरकार की।